upgrading the Vivien Monsters Advocate Planeswalker deck. Hey everyone, it's VM Campos, Magic fan. Welcome to another Planeswalker upgrade video. But you might say, VM Campos, I thought Planeswalker decks were extinct. Why yes, Tammy, they are. Wizards of the Coast has stopped printing Planeswalker decks. We can no longer get these cool intro products that would have a code for all these great stuff on Arena, unfortunately. Fortunately, what I am doing is keeping the tradition alive by creating myself and sharing to you some cool Planeswalker decks. Now I'm going with Vivien Monsters Advocate as this particular deck tech, and this video is focused on beginning to intermediate players with not a big collection of wild cards. It's a budget build. I'm focused on common and uncommon cards. I'm focused on Ikoria-only cards as well, especially for beginner players. You don't have all of the cards to work with. You don't have all of the wild cards to pick any card that you want in all of Arena. So that's the goal for this build. Beginning to intermediate players, a focus on common and uncommon cards on a budget, and Ikoria-only cards. Now for the longer version of the video, head on over to my Patreon, patreon.com/vmcampos. You'll get access to the longer version of the video with the sideboard guide and the big money upgrades. But don't worry, you'll still get a great version of this video for free. It'll be a great fully functional deck at this point, but head on over to the Patreon to get access to it for $1 for the longer version of the video. More deck tech just for you. If you can't pledge at the moment, no worries. Let's get on with the video. Alright, so I've got my Arena account loaded up right here. Who's actually online at the moment? We've got Dragosi. Oh, and Platinum Angel. Shout out to them. Dragosi's been on the podcast. And Platinum Angel is another cool player, so shout out to them. Okay, so here's the deck. I've got my Vivien Planeswalker deck. Now, again, it's a shame that Wizards is no longer publishing real decks with the code where you could build the deck yourself and improve it. So we're going to keep the tradition alive with my own version of it here. So, okay. So once again, the star of the deck is Vivien Monsters Advocate Planeswalker card. 5 mana for 3 loyalty legendary Planeswalker. Static abilities are back. Number 1, you may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. Now with the normal timing restrictions, of course. If your creature has flash, then yes, you can flash cast your creature. If not, you just still have another creature at the top of your deck that you can cast whenever you want. +1, create a 3/3 green beast creature token and put your choice of Vigilance, Reach, or Trample onto it. So you make these beast creatures and you can make them Reach, Vigilance, Trample, whatever you want for free with a +1 as many times as you want. That's why you want this card in your deck, because the -2, it's okay, but with the rest of the synergy that I have in this deck, it doesn't matter too much. -2. When you cast your next creature spell this turn, search your library for a creature with lesser converted mana cost and put it onto the battlefield. So in theory, you could get 2 creatures for the price of 1, for the price of 1 -2 loyalty ability here. When you're summoning a big creature, you could get a smaller creature when you -2 Vivien first. You'll probably be doing the +1 more often than not, and I think that pays for itself. Alright, let's check out the creatures that make this deck work. Essence Symbiote. 2 mana, 2/2 beast. Whenever a creature you control mutates, put a 1/1 counter on that creature and you gain 2 life. Okay, so there's going to be some mutate action going on in this deck, and when you're able to mutate onto this creature, this little creature is going to get so big so fast. You're going to see that your 2/2 becomes like a 4/5 on turn 3. Even bigger than that if you play your cards right. So we have a full playset of this. This is one of the common creatures. This is amazing. So get in my squad, little beast. Humble Naturalist. 2 mana for a 1/3 mana dork. Gives you a mana of any color, as long as it's green. And, however, it has to be focused on creature spells, so you cannot use this mana dork to summon Vivien, but almost the whole deck is creatures. So this will be some great ramp to get you into the bigger creatures, as we will see. And I love the art on this guy. Matt Stewart really created a fun work of art here, how he's like petting this creature over here, and he's like totally giving scritches over to this other like bird cat thing and the flavor text. The key to bonding with monsters, no matter their size, is knowing where they like to be scratched. Aww. Here's another human, the Hornbash Mentor, the Mentor cycle. I love these Mentor cycles. This is an uncommon 3/3 for 3. When it enters the battlefield, put a trample counter on target non-human creature you control. So you're obviously going to have your Essence Symbiote out first, and then next turn you'll pull out your Mentor here. It gives that Symbiote a trample counter. Then you can pay 3 as many times as you can later on in the game to put a +1 on that or any other creatures with a trample counter. I love that. Here's our mutate creature, a full playset of this common card. 4 mana for a 3/4. You can mutate it though for 3 mana. So basically the curve of this deck is really good in terms of there's a lot of stuff at the 3 drops. But if you need a big creature, okay, it costs 4. However, when you mutate it onto your smaller 2/2, whenever this creature mutates, search your library for a basic land, put it into the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. So again, combining this little symbiote into a huge 4/5 and getting another land is pretty amazing. That's where you've got your synergy going on in this deck. Greater Sandworm, it's a 7/7 for 7. Now it does have cycling, so if you don't see yourself getting to this card in time, just cycle it away, and you can draw another card. Another way to upgrade this deck is if you put in some cycling synergy. Besides that, you get a 7/7 that cannot be blocked by smaller creatures. You should be able to get to it no problem with your Humble Naturalist. And your Humble Naturalist will also help you with your Ivy Elemental. This is green X. Enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters. I've made this little 0/0 into a huge creature, no problem. With proper playing of my lands and the Naturalist or 2, this can get pretty epic, pretty out of hand. And then you put the Mentor's counter onto it to make it trample, and then even give it more +1s with its tap ability. What about if you also then couple it with Vivien's -2, to bring in a smaller creature even if you summon the Ivy Elemental as like a 3/3 or a 4/4. Let's go on to our other spells. We've got Ram Through, the strictly better Rabbit Bite. This is a common 2 mana instant. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't. If the creature has trample, excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. So they're starting to put trample on these spells, in other words. So have your creature kill your opponent's creature, and any excess damage then also goes over to the opponent. Thwart the Enemy, another common spell. Here's the new Fog. Prevent all damage that will be dealt this turn by creatures your opponents control. Their creatures are coming at you. You thwart them, no damage to you. You're attacking, and then somehow they manage to buff their creatures to huge proportions. Thwart them as well, and their damage will not hurt your creatures, and your damage will still hurt them back. Pretty cool, pretty amazing at only 3 mana. Common. And then the Springjaw Trap. Play this on turn 1, this artifact, with flash. Later on, then you can pay 4 tap to deal 3 damage to any target. That pesky creature that needs to be finished off, that Planeswalker that's vexing you, or the opponent for the final bit of damage. The land base is pretty easy. You just need 24 forests. Of course, you need the unsanctioned lands to really impress your opponents. And it'll really remind your opponents that you too are a monster's advocate. And there you go, that was the free version of the video. I hope you enjoyed the deck. I think there was a lot of great synergy there. It's a pretty fun deck. It's pretty affordable in terms of wild cards, its budget, and there's some cool things that the deck does. Remember, for the longer version of the video, go over to patreon.com/vmcampos. For $1, you'll get access to that, the longer version with the sideboard, the big money upgrades, and so forth. At the $2 range, I'll actually mail you a vintage Magic card from my collection in appreciation, but no, not a Black Lotus. Or simply follow for free on that Patreon. You'll be alerted to everything that I do, my deck tech videos, my gameplay, my streams, my comic book stuff, my Comic-Con and cosplay stuff, just follow for free on Patreon. I appreciate that as well. I also appreciate comments, likes, subscribes, and all that good stuff. Shares. Share my video, tell your friends and family all about it. I would really appreciate that. And consider the Patreon if you can. This has been VM Campos, and I'll see you on Ikoria.